So I want to show you the heights of corporate incompetence. Anheuser-Busch, with the Bud Light fiasco. I mean, it's one thing to try to be inclusive and all this kind of stuff, but and it's not that people have an issue with gays or trans. It's not about that. People try to say it's homophobic or whatever. It's just a matter of, this is America. People want to be free. They want to be free to not be indoctrinated, to not be bombarded with this kind of stuff. I mean, we have a right in this country to agree with what we want to agree with and disagree with what we want to disagree with. And, if someone doesn't embrace the trans lifestyle, they shouldn't be forced to have to embrace it. I mean, imagine me just as an American. I want to drink some beer, and I got to be looking at this trans person on the can. And again, it's not about hating on trans. It's just a matter of, why do I need to see that on my beer? I just want a beer, right? Well, here's ultimately the result of this kind of nonsense. Um, Anheuser-Busch is done. This is their stock right now. And as you can see, so they do this campaign, and then the whole thing just goes completely down. The company's falling apart. No one wants to buy their beer. They're absolutely struggling. We're looking at the end of an iconic American brand, which is sad. I mean, I hate to use the patriotic angle, but I mean, as an American, we've got to be proud of and embrace our brands. We don't have that many, right? We import so much more than we export. And then when we have a good brand like this, to see it die as a result of this nonsense, I mean, for the people that are saying that this is okay, I mean, imagine if, you're just whatever product that you normally use. Imagine Coca-Cola, very, very popular product. Imagine if they started putting like a picture of Jesus on there, or Bible verses, or maybe they put whoever you think is the devil. They put Donald Trump's face on there. So you're just trying to have a Coke, and then you got to be looking at Donald Trump's face. I mean, again, if people want to like Trump, that's fine, but I'm sure you don't appreciate Trump being shoved down your throat. That you're just trying to have a beer, or I'm sorry, a Coke, and you got to look at Trump's face. I mean, that's crossing the line, right? Do what you want to do with your life. Do what you want to do in your bed. You have a right to, you have freedom to, and again, it's not a homophobic thing. It's just a matter of, keep it to yourself, right? Don't put it on my Coke can. Don't put your Trump on my Coke can. Don't put your trans on my beer, right? Otherwise, this is the result. Look at it, straight down, completely devastating. But what's more devastating than anything that I've said so far is the fact that you've just learned a lesson about how effective propaganda is, because what you've been listening to so far is basically a propaganda piece designed specifically to manipulate you, and everything that I've been saying so far, generally speaking, has basically been lies and misdirection, and this is done to teach you how it's done, so that you can avoid being a victim of the type of tricks that I used on you. One of the many tricks that I used is I used the shoving it down your throat rhetoric, which is very effective. I knew that many people would automatically accept that as fact and would not really look into what actually happened, right? What actually happened was they did a very private, isolated deal where, when I say private, I mean it was targeted, right? They sent a single can with this woman's face on it, right? This person is only really known to the trans community. Even left-wingers didn't really know this person existed, like left-wing media folks, until right-wing media was the one that shoved this down our throats, right? They did this very quietly, targeted to this specific trans person. They did the post, which would only show up on people following them, so that means the trans community. The rest of us would not have known it at all. It is the right-wing media that dig this up. Now, the question is, why are right-wing media people following trans people? Right? Because otherwise, how do they know about it happening in the first place? Do we have some trans people in the right-wing media? Right? Because left-wing folks that have been advocating for LGBT issues or whatever, they're definitely supporting of that community. They didn't know about this person. They didn't know about the brand deal, but the right wing did. Why is that? Right? But again, they're the ones who dug this up and shoved it in our faces. Tons of video talking about it. So now we know who this person is. We know about the deal. And we're being bombarded with this whole trans this, trans that. If not for right-wing media, we would not even know that this brand deal was ever done. Right? And there would not be a major conversation talking about trans. The fact that you're thinking about trans, talking about trans, is because of right-wing media. Right? It was one can sent to someone, totally targeted, right? But I manipulated you by simply saying, oh, they're shoving it down our throats, because I know that phrase can give an emotional reaction, right? Because that's rhetoric that's been used, so people are already primed to respond to shoving it down their throats. I specifically use those words manipulatively to catch you, right? And to make you think a certain way, right? Not thinking critically and analyzing what I'm saying, but feeling. Oh yeah, shoving it down our throats. I can't stand when they blah, 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 blah. That's what I did. And some of you fell for it. There's so many tricks that I used on you. And I think, stop for a moment, now that you realize what's going on, and think about whether you've been believing me so far. Whether you think that I've been telling you facts so far. Rather than me just saying stuff, I'm showing you the data, right? I'm showing you the data. Look at the data. This is not my opinion. Facts don't care what you're feeling. Look at this, right? Look at this. What is this price? This price is $60-something, and now it's all the way down to $50-something. And you see how this is directly, as soon as they do this nonsense, this woke stuff, boom, it goes straight down. So I'm still doing it to you, right? Some of you who are a little bit more critical thinking, and actually paying attention and not just hearing what you want to hear, it may have recognized already the trick that I'm using on you, that I just used yet again. So this is the technique that I'm using is I'm basically manufacturing a reality. The reality that I'm manufacturing is that as a result of this so-called woke stuff, this is what the stock has done, right? And I'm showing you proof. This is actually the stock price. This is Yahoo. And this is really what it is now. I'm not lying to you. This is currently what the stock is at, right? And it was this high. Like, this is all factual, what you're seeing here. The stock was this high, now it's that low. It went down that fast. This is all factual. But I'm doing a technique that a lot of people use in partisan media, where I'm lying with the truth. I'm showing you actual data, actual facts. The price is down. The price was that high. It did go down very fast. So I'm bombarding you mostly with truths, which makes it harder for you to detect where the lie is. Tell me where I lied. What did I lie about? Well, the data is accurate. What the data is doing is accurate, but there's a minor detail that basically makes this all basically a lie, in spite of the fact that it has a lot of truth to it. And the lie is in that what I'm showing you is not actually what I'm making it appear to be, what I'm manipulating you to think it what it appears to be. And the big detail, the fact, a key or clue is in time. When was it this price, right? And when was it this price? Did you even look and see what the dates are? Or did you just hear my words and see visually a graph that's going down and just go along with my rhetoric? Well, if you paid closer attention, you would see that this is March of 2023, right? which is not matching the time frame of a lot of the stuff that's been going on. I believe that the post, if I'm not mistaken, so the initial campaign was made, I think, in February of this year. So that is basically a month before this, right? And also, all I really did is I zoomed out until I could find a graph that showed a rapid decline, show how low it is. So I specifically focused on this. I wanted to show you, look at how they were doing well, and then they did the woke stuff. But I never made a statement about when this is happening and try to match it up with the actual events, right? But there's even a bigger lie than that. Here's the reality. If we zoom out, like you see, look at what I'm showing you, how it shows, Bud Light doing very poorly right now. But if we zoom out, what does it show us? This is what Bud Light's really doing. This is what Bud Light's really doing. We go back to 2010. What does this graph show? Well, first of all, Bud Light had a peak, or Anheuser-Busch had a peak in 2018. 2018. I'm sorry, 2016, sorry. 2016 is when they had a peak. So when Trump got elected, that's when they fell apart. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, this is how long ago they were peaked. They were peaked at, it looks like 100 and something dollars per share is how high they got, right? And that was in 2016. So their decline is from 2016. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 7 years ago. 7 years ago was Dylan. First of all, I didn't even know who, most people didn't know who Dylan was prior to this year, right? So I don't even know if this person was even a thing in 2016. They certainly didn't have this campaign with Bud Light at that time, right? So someone thinking logically and dealing with facts, looking at the full context, would say that Anheuser-Busch started a rapid decline in 2016 long before any of this stuff. A very dishonest actor will say, well, this is not the first woke thing. They've been on a woke, right? That's moving the goalpost. Right now, the lie that people are attempting to sell you on is that the right wing has successfully destroyed Anheuser-Busch as a result of their woke stuff, right? So their boycott is working. Companies now know, don't do woke stuff, otherwise you go broke. You go woke, you go broke. That's the lie that they're telling you. The reality is they've been going broke since 2016, right? So let's stick to the claims made. You're trying to connect it to Dylan Midday. You're trying to say it's relevant to now, but it's not relevant to now. They've been on a decline for a very, very long time. And look at how fast they went down. Was it September? Look at that. Look at that drop, right? Now let's contrast it with what's happening right now. This is what's happening. That dip that I showed you before. Look at how tiny that is. That is a much smaller decline. That's a drop in the bucket. So we're talking about $56 to $65. So let's just call it a $10 difference. Here it's $130 dropped to $102. So that's a $30 drop. That happened really, really fast. And then they really started to plummet in 2017. They went from $123 to $69. And then again, they did a massive drop. Look at these drops compared to this, right? This is a blip, barely noticeable compared to what they've done multiple times. Boom, 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 right? Now here's another interesting reality. They are up since 2020. They were at $43 and now at $56. They are up since October 2020. That was early 2020, late 2020. They are only down relative to where they were in September of 21. Well, actually, the way to look at this is to average it out. The stock is obviously fluctuating. In fact, I would say the stock looks more positive now because look at the past performance. Overall, they've just been going down, spike up, going down, spike up, going down, spike up. Well, look what happened since then. If you average this out, it's not really going in one direction or the other, right? It goes up and then it goes down almost as much as it went up, or a similar amount, right? So it's kind of going up, going down, going up, going down. So since it's like 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. So this is indicating a period of stability since September of 2021. It hasn't really gone anywhere. Now, in the short term, some slick traders could, time their thing and buy it here and then sell it there, or buy it here and hold it long enough to sell it here at a profit. But overall, the movement is stagnant. That's not the case since 2016, right? There's no stagnation here, right? If you were to draw a line to show the pattern of where it's going, like we can do right now, you'll see the general direction. If you just average it out, ignore the ups and downs, generally that's the path that they've been on, right? If I do a similar thing now, we see generally the path is straight, right? Just to further clarify, this is how much it went up on this run right here. It went down way more, right? This is how much it went up. It went down way more, and at the very end it was like free fall, right? You can also look at where it reverses in terms of where it changes direction. It's about the same place here, right? It's going up, right? Then it goes down, and then it bounces off this line, right? It goes up, and it goes down, and it bounces off that same line. It goes up, and it goes down. This time it goes below the line, right? But then it transitions back up again, and then it bounces off that same line. That $56, it just keeps hanging out there. It tries to shoot up above, it gets pulled back down. It tries to shoot up again, it gets pulled back down. This time it goes under it, right? Shoots back up, goes back down. That's what it's doing, right? In this case, we're here, right? Falls down, rises up almost to where it fell down from, right? But then it falls down, and when it rises up, look where it ends up. Way lower than it was the peak before, right? Then it falls down again, and then when it rises, look where it ends up. Way lower. The peaks are getting lower and lower and lower, right? So the reality is, what's happening right now is actually stability as opposed to chaos. But they're a company that's been struggling since 2016. So if I want to manipulate you into showing you that they're dying because of the boycott, then I can show you the negative data, which you'd expect from a company that is at 56 when it was at 100 and something. But it was 100 and something way before any of this stuff that's going on right now, right? But the reality is, they have been having a tough time for quite some time now, right? So sales issues. I'm just going to get some more data on their sales. So if you look at the sales graphs for people trying to make a point that the boycott is working, they'll show you just this tiny frame, right? Because they want to show you what's happening now to skew your perspective. But what I want to see is, how are they doing overall? Like, let's eliminate what's happening immediately, and let's look at in general where the company's at. So a way that you can figure this out is when you do your search, exclude the current time, so you exclude any sort of bias relative to the story. So I will look at, let's go back to the year 2000 and only go as far as 2022, July. So I didn't find any data yet, but I do see this graph which is showing new pub closings rising from slowly before that, but 2016 is where we see the big jump in closings. And then it's more and more, and then a really big spike in 2020 for obvious reasons. Then it drops down to back to 2017, and it goes up to 2018. So I couldn't find anything for sure, but I did find this 2018 article. For the first time, the 3 best-selling beers Yeah, I'm not really finding good data, but I do see 2018 they fell off the list of America's three favorite beers. Well, Budweiser did. As far as Bud Light, it says shipping volumes from the U.S. fell by 2 million barrels last year, the biggest yearly drop the trade publication has recorded. Overall, beer sales were down slightly in the United States last year. So since Anheuser-Busch makes Budweiser, Michelob Ultra, and Busch and Coors Light, so are right-wingers not drinking beer at all? What beer are they drinking now? Patriot beer? So is the boycott having any effect on Anheuser-Busch? Of course it is. That's the way business works, right? Small details can have effects on your business. The weather can have an effect on your business. Your car dealership, maybe, it's been a lot of rain lately, so not as many people are coming into the dealership, and therefore you can't have as much sales, right? But would you mark that as a crisis? Like, oh my goodness, rain is going to end the automotive industry? No. You gotta put things in perspective. So sure, it's having an effect, of course. The question is how big of an effect it's having. And the data doesn't show that it's having much of an effect at all in terms of relative to what the bigger picture, right? The 2016 collapse of this brand. And again, like I pointed out, relative to what they've been doing, they're actually doing better now than they have been. The current price now is significantly higher than what it was in October of last year. So it's much higher than it was October of last year, all the way to November of last year. We could say that they've lost all of their gains for the year, right? It peaked at 65, right? And now it is the lowest that it's been for the year, right? Which is about the same as what it was looking like in May of 2022, right? So at the beginning of 2022, right? They peaked at about $64, right? And then by that summer, they had lost all the gains for the year. So pretty much they are doing identical to what they were doing last year. For whatever reason, I don't know what's causing this, where they peak at somewhere early in the year, and then I don't know. I think summer would be a good time, but for some reason they're like having this summertime dip, and that's what they're doing again. So if they continue on the same pattern as last year, it's gonna go even lower, and I'm sure a lot of right wingers are gonna pretend like that's because of what they're doing. So anyway, that is what it is. These are the facts. Compare what I'm showing you here to what you're being told by people who are celebrating the demise of Bud Light, and see who's giving you more accurate information. Consider, did you learn anything from this video? Did I show you, were you aware that this is what the stock was doing in the past, and this is what's been happening in 2016? Did anyone mention any of that stuff, or did they all just zoom in like I did in the beginning and tell you about how Budweiser is over? Right? You decide what that means to you. I'm just showing you the facts. This is the Debate Me channel. Debate Me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.